Come and get started on a new mission, a new direction, a new intention. Welcome to 5.8G Alive at Connections 50 Plus. I am Terri Jenn Joseph Brathwaite.
And I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, catering to all your prospects in the third act of life.
Economic well-being, social gratification, personal fulfillment.
Join us on Wednesday at 6 p.m. on Connections 50 Plus Facebook page, YouTube channel,
and on Gael the Caribbean. Hello and welcome to 5.8G Alive, brought to you by Connections 50 Plus. And it's Wednesday, but Sunday was Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the phenomenal people. I am Terri Jenn Joseph Brathwaite, one of the co-creators, and with me as always, my friend.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, here, the co-creator of Connections 50 Plus. I hope you all had a wonderful Mother's Day.
Definitely, definitely. Jennifer, what did you do for Mother's Day? How was it?
It was nice, family. You know, this was the first Mother's Day without mom. But I just I find when it's celebrating, to me, Mother's Day, it's important for family. So, you know, I had my daughters and grands with me. So it was really nice. Not a big celebration, just company.
Great.
So I was very happy. I was very happy about that. Yeah.
Nice. I took the opposite route. I didn't take on anybody. I only focused on myself. And I planned a day that I wanted, and I loved it.
Yeah, that's what we have to do.
Ball. So it was great. Everybody provided what I wanted, and that was
we are happy with life.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, you know, it's Mother's Day. We celebrated Mother's Day. We wish you all Mother's Day. And we thought that it would be really nice for us to take a look at mothers on the third act stage and have a little panel of people talking about who they were as mothers in the peak of motherhood compared to where we are now, that the burden of raising children might be a little relaxed. You know, so Jennifer, we'll go on and talk about moms.
Yes, it's interesting to hear. You know, I like the idea of, okay, this is who we were then. And now with more time, you know, in many cases that the children they go on the bed, they have their families, and we left and say, yes, this is our time, you know. So when we can do that, that's great. Sometimes we have to learn to let go and see about us. Yeah.
So let's get into try and talk motherhood then and now. Okay, great. Okay, listeners, viewers, as we said in the start, we're talking about motherhood, but we're really focusing on the mother part of the motherhood, not the children. And we thought it would be interesting to have a conversation of how we on this third act stage view ourselves now that we are in this third phase of motherhood with adult children who are on their way, and we can make our own choices. And I'm so happy, Jennifer and I are so happy that we have Mrinalini, Supersad, and Cheryl Small joining us. So just to start, and these may be faces you may be familiar with if you come to 50 Plus events, they are followers. So let me just invite Cheryl, and then I'll invite Mrin, that's what we call Mrin, affectionately, to just give a little summary of, all right, who is this mother? Include mother of who, mother what, so we just know where we're coming from. Cheryl.
Okay, good afternoon, viewers. Okay, I'm Cheryl Small. I am the mother of 3 girls and 1 boy. Feels he's the prince. among all the girls. What else can I say? Well, everybody's grown, and I don't want to get into the meat of today's topic, but to me, now the freedom that I had prior to motherhood, although I'm still their mother, that is back, So, that's just my little open statement. So the spontaneity and so is back. I could just get up and go,
Excellent.
But during the journey, the actual motherhood journeying through that, from number one and then number two and then number three and so on, it wasn't like that at all. It wasn't like that at all,
Great. Thanks, Cheryl. So, Mrin, what's your opening position?
So good evening, everyone. This is Mrinalini, Supersad, and I am the mother of one lovely daughter, one and only, and 3 grandchildren. So for me, growing up, this little baby who was just 6 pounds and 11 ounces, it was such a joy when she came into the world. So, but it would have been a struggle along the way to bring her up to where she reached in terms of education and stuff. So, for me, as a mother, before being a mother, I was just having a lot of fun because I got married at 18 and a half and then planned that baby at 21. So she was well planned. And I myself, being last of 9 and being spoiled, I came spoiled, I still spoiled, and it was just having fun, just having a good time, parties, liming, beach lime. We just doing all sorts of things because you didn't have a care in the world. It was just about fun until you got pregnant. And then you realize that, hey, things have to get a little more serious because you're now going to bring this little being into the world and you will be responsible for this child that you are bringing, So it was a lot of struggle as well, but with putting plans in place because a divorce came 3 years after. So you had to look after this child and bring this child up, make sure she went through her O levels and got her education because, of course, you want to see the child succeed. So the struggles were there. And,
Definitely.
But it blossomed, everything blossomed, and everything came to fruition. So
lovely. Good. Well, Jennifer and I are also part of the panel. So, Jen, you want to go with your outline?
Yes, I'm good. I am mother of 2 daughters, adult right now, so I'm not living with me, but similar to Marin, I got divorced very early. So by the time my eldest daughter was, 6, I already divorced, so I a single parent from then. So you would have these struggles as a single parent. That comes with a lot of, I wouldn't say struggles, but challenges, experience. If I look back, I'm good with the experience that I have gained. But for me, I had my freedom even with my 2 daughters. I had no one to control my movements. So I was in charge of who I am, what I wanted to do, etc., and make arrangements accordingly. So I continue along that vein, even now. So now my daughters are not living with me. I have freedom, which I enjoy. So far as a mother, I know as we chat, we would, give some more details, but that's my opening statement.
Yeah. For myself, it's only when I am forced to think of motherhood that I recognize that my motherhood journey was probably a very challenging one. Primarily because my first child, first pregnancy, in marriage was born with a condition called spina bifida, and I had to manage that through adulthood. And as a mother, you got the news that this child would not live beyond 4, and it was something that was totally out of, you didn't even know what it was. And that knowledge, I think, threw me into a mindset of motherhood that was more focused on, oh, that's what they said. Well, I'll prove you differently, you know? So
Yes.
as I think of my motherhood journey, it is, I don't get a lot of similarities, and it will come through in the end. And sometimes I think I don't know whether I was good for. No, I was great for my first son because he's such a phenomenal person today. But I don't know that many people could follow my process. Even the decision to have a second son was an instruction, who I love. I love. If he hears me say this, he's going to say, "What you talking about, woman?" You know, it was an instruction. You cannot just have one child with a handicap. Go and have another
Yeah.
one. So I was obedient and I went and had another one. And that's the one who thinks he rules my life. So it was, I would not use the word challenge, although it was a challenge. But now that I look back, I wonder where was the challenge, because it all, and it probably has to do with my personality, which is to take whatever is given to me and deal with it and manage it and turn straw into gold. And I think that's the shape of my motherhood journey, as it were, you know. So who else has another dimension? And we can ask each other questions on this panel, because the 4 of us, that's okay. So when we look at ourselves as mothers, all right, let me ask a question. What kind of woman would you have described yourself as you brought up those children? If somebody were to say, people have to say, all right, this is the kind of woman that I am. How would you describe yourself as the person with responsibility for raising, well, it's 4 children in your case, Cheryl, 2 children, Jennifer, and your one precious Mrin. And for myself, I could talk about with 2 boys and one with a physical challenge. How would you describe a woman?
Let me start.
Yeah, Jen.
And I'm thinking back what my children will say to me normally. I say I was very disciplined. Could be referred to as stiff. Stiff in that.
Structured.
I would say structured, but I was told stiff but structured. Very. I'm not one to spoil people. So where the stiff come in, I wasn't, and I question myself on that. And that's why I'm answering you. Mother's Day I start a question and say, maybe I was a little mama stiff mother, not as loving and kissing. You know, this very embracing. When you think of a mother, you think of see somebody who
kisses.
Huh?
I said the hugs and the kisses.
Yes. That's not me, because I wasn't brought up like that. So I think that is where I say I was a bit stiff in that, very, very, very disciplined, as if very structured and organized, because I as a single parent, I had to be organized because I always like to fit in time for me. So, and that's where I may say the discipline, because if I know I want to do something, I continue to socialize, because to the career I was in called for a lot of socialization. And so why being stiffer was social, right? And that's where the discipline came in. So in the earlys, I'm not as stiff as before. I have learned to let go and a little bit more relaxed with life. So yeah, I'll answer your question like that.
Mrin?
So, like Jen, we still had some socializing and stuff because, like I said, we love to party and lime and go to make cook and go to the beach and come home 4 o'clock in the morning. Those days you could lime on the beach and have a good time. And it didn't stop us as the baby came, because if we had house parties to go to, baby was going as well.
Yes,
Right?
I know.
So I was responsible in that I did just leave the child anyway. So Aurora is her name, and we took her to the party, and of course, we would have a bedroom right downstairs where the party taking place. So we put her on the bed, and we will check up on her. So we enjoyed ourselves, but we also responsible by having her there that we could look after her. Sometimes I would drop her by her mom and stuff like that. But I was very disciplined. And also, as she was growing up, I made sure that I was on time to pick her up and drop her on time for her maxi. Make sure when she came back from school, I was there to pick her up. She was not just left alone, so that responsibility was there. And so people would say, they admire that I look after her well and not just leave her on her own as a single parent. And of course, she was always well dressed. And as the years went along, and she had to go out, like it was Bujo Banton, and she want to go to Bujo Banton show, and I get in a fit. Why she want to go to this show, And then the other parents say, okay, let's do carpool. I'm sorry, responsibilities where one will drop, one will pick up, and this sort of thing. So at least she got to experience that. And it was a good idea to let her go, because when she turned 18 and some other artist was coming, and I said, would you like to go to that? Here, no, what I want to go to that for? So it's like she got the expert, but it was peer pressure. That's why she wanted to go the first time. But having the experience, she didn't even worry again. So this is where, as a mother, you have to worry. And then when she turned 20 and you're coming home, you're waking up, they go on Anchorage, and you waking up and nobody coming home and no cell phone to call. And when she comes in at 6 o'clock in the morning, the friends drop her. She tells me it's safer to travel in the day than the night.
Yeah.
And you as a mother worried you can't sleep because this girl ain't come home yet. And then when she turned 21 and reached 22 and 23, and she getting ready to go out, and I say, but you didn't tell me you're going out. And she said, but mom, you forget I'm 23. I say, but you're living in my house. So when you're going out, you have to let me know that you are going out. So as you say, we have to let go when they reach a certain age, but we want to hold on because we want to be responsible. We want to make sure that they're brought up in the right way. So that falls on you, because you want to be seen as the responsible mother and not the irresponsible mother. And like Jen, we never grew up with hugs and kisses. Our parents never hug us and kiss us. We never heard I love you. And I think it is difficult for people to say I love you. And up to now, I have found that people find it difficult to say I love you. And even with my daughter, I couldn't say it. And then after some time, I started to say it. And sometimes you get a response and sometimes you don't, because she didn't grow up that way as well. You know? So it's the upbringing and what you do, it really hits you later on in life.
Yeah.
Indeed. And Cheryl,
Yeah. When
what's
I
the
was
as a woman?
I would be a little different because I grew up with the hugs and the kisses, and you know, when mom come by, she would come first thing kiss you when she's leaving. You know, the hug and the kiss. My family is small and tight knit, so I think that is where we got that thing. So very emotional and very kind of sensitive, and as Min, that's how you pronounce it, was saying, I wasn't as young as her, you know, 18 and just a bit. I was 23, but people found it was young. And then I had my first one, which is Stacy, at 25. So for the 2 years and for all the years prior to that, it was just me and my husband, and we just go in, as they say, the spontaneity. You want to go and watch turtles, you want to go on the beach, whatever. You just get up and go. But by the time she came along, but it was easy going with number one. Let's put it like that, because she would go wherever we were going. You know, she would go wherever, even if it's single friends, if it's friends who were couples or whatever, we'll go. We even had a little cot that we used to carry, and we put her there because they want to put her on the bed, whatever have you. And she would go with us to because that time was house parties. You know where you're going, you know who you're going by. So she would go. It's when the 2 and the 3 came along, is that, you know, you could do that. And then, you know, my husband was very particular. So it's not no drop in here and no drop in there. You know, so it's either you go for a short while, show your face, whatever it is, and come back or so. And for me, that was a biggie, if you know what I mean. That kind of not being as carefree and not being be able to do as you want, as you said, Jennifer. You used to make time, but I couldn't make time because my husband was there for a long while. Yeah, he was there, wasn't he? He was on the scene, and you know, and being very particular with the and it was girls. It was 2 girls, so it was even more particular. You know, until well, Adrian came along, and then after that, it was we fine and dandy with the 3. He worked in the airline, so we would jump on a plane every now and then, jump on a plane, you know, and you're going with 3. And out of the, I don't want to say the blue skies, I don't even know where, the last one came, that's Rejan, and she came a long while after, you know. So when you get back into a groove and you know you're going out and you're going here and you're going there, you went back into that, you know, this baby that I have to find nursery for and this for, and I didn't even know I had forgotten about that, you know, because it was 8 years after, you know, the last one. So for me, it was really challenging. I should say work oriented. So I was very much into the time that any time I had to make is for work. For work and for personal development. I was into my studies. So I had to put that on hold for a while until they were, you know, big enough. And I was like the Energizer bunny because I would still drop this one to dance, drop this one to lessons. Then I went up to Art of Jack. And then, you know, and it was real Energizer bunny because he works shift, right? Being an engineer at BB, he worked shift. So it would be sometimes you think he leave and he going to work, he coming back whatever time in the night. And so you still have all the things. I never used to drive in the earlys because we both work in Port of Spain and he would drive and we would go our merry way. In the end, I had to Not that I didn't know how to drive. I knew how to drive, but we had to buy another car because he going to Piarco, I going into Port Spain with all the children. So for me, I would say it was a challenge, even though to me I adapted and I kind of learned quickly because, as Jennifer said, after a while I realized no, this, well, I don't want to say not cutting it, but what happened to Cheryl Small, if you know what I mean. I have to make time for Cheryl Small, you know. And to me, when I did that, when I found, time to go wherever it is I wanted to go and whatever, I found that it made me, for want of a better word, better able to cope with all the requests that they want to go here and they want to go there, So similarly, I had other parents who would pass for them, take them wherever, and probably when he comes off his shift, he will just go and do the picking up when they go. Well, they were not, they were based on those others that, I mean, probably so long gone, those places that they were going to. But that was it. So it was, to me, the children are always a blessing. I accepted all of them. You know what I mean? Not accepted, I mean, they're mine. But I mean, I thought it was, a blessing. Even when Rejan came along long after, at first I was, oh my goodness, but and all went well with all of them. As Terri Jenn said, I am the one with the little challenges, but probably is a good thing that I had 4 because for the kidney story, they were all too willing, everybody wants to be the one to donate, this sort of thing, so now they're the ones who are very supportive. The rule before, they were so dependent on me and I was so overprotective this kind of way. I was, more cautious and less carefree. To me, that's how I could sum it up, that journey. Very protective, if anything, she think, I think his one had some breathing issue and something. Oh my God, it was like, oh, I can't even say how it was. I mean, when I came home and they said no, and we had a neighbor next door who was a pharmacist, and she said no, you have to take her, and I went and when I reached the mount, it was Mount Hope. I realized I wasn't really dressed all that properly in all the haste, But all in all, I guess it was a challenge, as I said, but at the end of the day, it was all worth it for me. It was all worth it. And I think there was a lot of growing for me, a lot of growing, a lot of growth, and some of it even, I don't want to spilled over, but helped me in my career as a senior person in HR. I think I was more caring and more compassionate, and so because before being work oriented, as I said, I will always find why they can't come out. I am coming out, and if I am the head of the team, why they can't come out, what excuse they would have. But when I became a mother, I understood, that people would have challenges that they would go through, and that sort of thing. And I was able to respond more positively to those sorts of things. So I found I learned and I grew a lot during the journey of, motherhood.
Yeah. Wow. I really kind of not on the scale here. So I got married at 28. And I had my first child, that surprised in so many ways, at 31. And I was pretty established in my career. And my husband was also a professional, and we had very independent lives professionally, and we were good friends. So there was a separation of professionals, but there was a mix of people who interacted socially, you did different things, you had your friends and stuff like that. And I remember when I got married and looking around in my corporate setting, I was looking around to see, all right, so let me see how people mix in this, because I was a senior executive in the company that I worked with. So I'm looking around to say, let me see if I could see some role models how to do this thing. You know, apart from my mother, I didn't have a role model. So of course I'm looking at a lot of men. And I remember one day sitting down in a boardroom. I remember, wait, all these men talking about people who organizing their life for them, not allowing them to live so wonderfully. Everybody in here have a wife. And I am a wife, I don't have no wife. So I remember deciding in that room there and then, so if I'm going to have children, I will need to have a wife. Otherwise, I got dead doing this job and raising children in the way that I did. So I made, in the back of my mind, I put in the idea that you need a wife. So pregnancy number 1 came along, and I decided to do a job description for the wife before a baby born. I didn't know what to do. So the job required me to travel. I had to unrealistic hours, all kinds of things like that. So I said, this wife had to live with me because wives live with you. And what is the wife to do? The wife had to do everything. The only thing the wife ain't gonna do is sleep with my husband. And she had to take care of the child, but I will love the child. So my role would be love the child and the husband, and the wife have to do everything else. So I got a wife, first wife. And the mindset that I had was really important, I think, for me being a success as I was, because in my whole career, I've had 5 wives, and each wife, I'm serious, I'm so serious about this. They stayed with me for 10 years or more. And my current wife, and I have bad habit, I don't need the wife again, but Andrea, she ain't going nowhere. She was with me 20 years last February.
Wow.
Okay. And I think when Mark came and we realized, oh my God, what is going on here? This child has a handicap. We don't what's defect, we don't know what this is, and so on. That first wife, Mona, was right in the middle of it. And we decided, all right, you have to now live in with us. So thank God we were building a house, and your wife had to live with me for the first, let me see, 3 years, and then Mark, for the first probably 20 years of my married life, I had a wife living with us. And to this day, I have never asked my husband what his view is of having a wife living with us. So it gives you the sense of my mindset, you know. I assume he did not like it because, or he probably didn't have the option to say no, because it allowed me to live my profession, live and achieve my dreams and goals, allowed me time to give to my son Mark, and then 7 years later, Matthew, what they needed from me, because I didn't have to think about anything else. And around my wife, I also built a staff. So I had a dressmaker on call, a beautician on call, I had a gardener on call. If I was traveling, I'd call my wife and say, I have to go so and so, start to pack my bags. And when I was in amongst the executives, I realized I could rock back and be cool like the men, because nothing fazed them, because I knew I had my wife taking care of me, and the wife coordinated everything in the home, the plumber, the this, the that. And I suppose my husband was also happy because it wasn't an extra burden on him. And my children were able to have the best of all worlds. And I know a lot of people look at me as a woman and raise eyebrows about that. But I know one of the things I always say, and I think I get this straight from my mother, is that children are a blessing. They're not meant to be a burden on you or to change your trajectory in any way. So the story of motherhood for me, I cannot describe unless I talk about my wives, my 5 wives, who came in, lived with me, and helped me to be a phenomenal mother and also be a good professional and not near lose my mind where in the process. So one day I will ask my children and my husband what they think about it, because I don't know what their opinion is to this day. So
still working, Mrin, still working. And Mrin will know, especially us who have been on the field right through, that we definitely needed help from day one. That wasn't in budgeting. From day one, we knew you have to budget for help, right? And so, again, in terms of taking care of me, making sure that I still enjoy life while being a mother, especially a single parent. Yes, this was very important to have that help. Well, unlike you, I didn't have a living, but always had someone. I always say the cooking and the cleaning is just not, I couldn't see being successful as a professional, being successful because, yes, and Cheryl mentioned it, you have to study because you have to upgrade yourself all the time, depending on the field you are in. You have to take care of yourself. So what is critical for me also is being healthy. So I always, be in the gym and doing something to make sure exercise is priority for me. And of course, to do that, it takes some time, and it's taking time away from, well, let's say motherhood. Motherhood for me is, as you said, you're providing, you're being there when needed. But you have to take care of you. You have to take care of you. So from very early, right through, I would say, in my life as a wife, as a mother, I always carve out time to do the things that making me happy and keeping me healthy. And to do that, yes, when I'm not there, and this is where I'm, you say I'm very regimented, because if I am out there working, because the hours you're fluctuating, and I also have to have time to go and exercise and time for this socializing, it means that if I'm not home, I'm sorry, my trying not to go anywhere. I am not allowing you. If I have to leave that house, you have to be home and don't go anywhere. And things. So you have to be very, for me, very disciplined, very organized. Not that they can't go out. As Cheryl, it means I am in charge. Things. So I will make that time to make sure so they go all over the place. They go on holidays, they go different places, but within my schedule. So I am very, yes, regimented. I was in terms of scheduling that time for me, time for them. And I'm a drop and pick up person. So my career afforded me the flexibility of time. So whereas I would have somebody coming home to help in terms of the household chores, I always do want to drop and pick up. Any activity within a school, I am the mother who would drop and pick up, within my time frame. So I organize my time to suit as a mother to be there for my children because it's the sports, it's everything. They make sure they're involved in anything they could get involved in to keep them, occupied. I make time for that, but I always cover that time for me. Right? So, but I definitely understand that need. I mean, I know you always refer to your help as wife because they're doing every single thing. In my case,
It's
not
family.
not all the duties. I couldn't I farm out the duties that more in the house to keep me. The cooking and the cleaning and things is time consuming when I could be out there working and bringing in the money. All right. But yeah, basically that's how I think in terms of my mindset and how I operated then. Now it's a different time.
Mrin, what are you saying?
I wanted to say to Jen, well, Jen will know when you start in this business that is a struggle, and only when you sell you earn commissions. So when I started, my daughter was 16, and I had to bring her up to Sanford she was doing A levels in Benedict's. So I had to bring her up there on a Monday, drop her by my sister, and leave her with my sister until Friday when I could take her back home. Because going back and forth would have been too much. And the time I'm leaving work, she has studies to do. So it was a sacrifice there. But when she finished and she started to work, I got a rude awakening, just as you said. I was busy in trying to sell, to earn commission, to pay the mortgage, to pay the car loan, buy groceries and everything. And one day she said to me, do I have to make an appointment to see you? I said, why say so? She said, because on weekends you're busy, during the week you're busy, but it's a responsibility for me as a mother to try and make ends meet as a single parent. And then she said, we used to go in the mall and have chicken and chips, so we'd go for ice cream. So that, woke me up there that I was losing that little touch with her. And then one day when she said to me, I tired eat buy food, because I was coming home all 9 o'clock and not cooking and buying food, or she buying food. And she said, I am tired eating buy food. That's when I had to get a lady to come in and clean and wash, because I was doing everything. I was cleaning, washing. When I could cook, I cooking, and on weekends I cooking and working. So that lady stayed with me for 15 years until she got sick and had to retire. Yeah. So just as you say, you really need that little help because you can't.
It's a great help, a big help.
It is.
You really can't. Because you want to build a business, and Jen, is what you put in this business is what you get. I mean, I'm here 30 years now with Guardian Life, right? So I know I pound the pavement and I work the hours, and it was, so as a mother, you want to make sure that child gets the best from the time she born is the first, and you want to have everything for that child. So that's the joy of motherhood, of this excitement of bringing this child into the world and seeing this child right through till my dream was for her to finish her education, get married, and give me grandchildren, and I'm sure all my dreams come.
Cheryl, you have any comment on before we get into how we are now, so we could look back and compare?
But like all the others, Terry and I did have, but if you want to say, 2 wives that stayed with me for a while. It's just that my wife never slept home. They never stayed in, right? My wives came and left. And that was even a little challenging for me because at a certain time, the wife have to be here, and sometimes the wife is not here. Then I have to I have to, continue that day doubling up now as the wife because the wife was supposed to come the second wife, but she didn't come. So that was my little thing with the coming in. The only time they stayed is if I traveled. If I, if I had gone out, when I was in like in examinations and then you have to go see in Barbados for something or something, or something I was very involved in my credit union and you have to go to the Tobago, to do something. They would stay in, but other than that, my wives, they came and they left. And that is after a while, remember, I didn't have the all the bills and all those things, right? Because my man was there. But after a while, I don't know, you just got to try and get it big, and if you have somebody here doing all the cleaning, all the things, girls, young ladies, they have to learn to do this and do that and the other. And after a while, he said, no, do away that. They're big enough. Just give them chores. Yes, and that is how that was the end of my help. That's the end of my help.
I remember looking at people saying they have to go home and they have to wash and do this and that.
Yeah. And when I come home, I used to have to what was the word, boy? But I used to have to come and just lie down for 15-20 minutes before I could get up and start again. Yes.
And Jennifer would know I am a foodie. So you see me, when I come, I don't tell me tired and go.
Don't tell me you have to go and face the kitchen.
Good meal. I want to go in the kitchen. So the wife had to be able to cook.
But man, like you and I always buying food, right?
Oh God.
Sacrifices. We all make sacrifices, But when in the context of that, if we think of our personalities when we are younger, let's say, all right, even I would use before we are mothers, probably young mothers, and you're in the grind of taking them through those tens and then teens, and you look at your personality, it changes your personality, yeah?
It does.
You finish, and here we are. It's done. We did most of the work. How have you changed? Are you different? And how would you describe yourself now versus then? Who wants to start?
Karen, I think that question interesting. Have you changed? Changing.
You're still changing.
Change is constant. So let's talk about the main thing.
I'm trying.
I want to say that I believe that when you have gone through all these different stages, is husband problem, financial situation, career, you want to reach your goals and dreams, and bringing up this one child or bringing up children, and you want the best for that child. You want the best for you as the individual because you have feelings, you emotional, and you could go through stress, you could have breakdowns, you could be depressed. But you do things to uplift yourself, like you get into meditation and yoga and dance classes, and you go to the gym. So you do things to uplift you. And now that you have seen everything unfold before your very eyes, and you see that little baby, we name her after Sleeping Beauty because she's asleep all the time. And that was another joy, finding that name and see Sleeping Beauty grow and blossom into a wonderful young lady, get married and give you grandchildren. It brings a lot of joy to you. You feel more confident. You feel proud of yourself. And now to me, you've been through all this and you know you are successful, and people to say that to you, that They know how hard you work and they know where you've come from. And, if your mother was alive today, your mother will be proud of you from where you started and where you have been. So
Yeah.
it gives you more confidence, I want to believe, that you are now able to, with all the experience, I now share with other people, younger people, even older people, people my age, they will ask, how did you do it and how did you reach this far? And that is why sometimes we would talk about life balance and how you
Yeah.
got to where you are. But I also believe is that as the old people would say, you have to have belly to do all that I did and still doing and reach where I am. And at
Yeah.
this stage, at this age, 67, even blossoming into finding, as Jennifer say, puppy love.
Love in the air.
you know. So it's different stages, and maybe because God is in charge, and I prayed a lot and make sure that I ask God to guide my daughter along the way as well, that you feel fulfilled now. So I think that big changes from then, 30 years ago,
Yeah.
well, I say in 30 years, which when I started my career, but 43 years from divorce, coming along the way, I have come a long way and changed in many, many ways. So now I could offer advice to people,
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I were to compare myself, when I think of me, if I were to, people who looked at me and know me would, and I've shared this with few people, and they say, you serious about that? To me, those years, I was always carrying attention, and it was a tension, not attention. To keep a lot of very, very important things balanced, making sure that Mark got, because I put it out there, my husband was a limer, and he expected his wife to do what all the other men's wives were doing. You taking care of the children and you taking care of the business, and he's a phenomenal provider. So you carried the tension of knowing you had this huge responsibility of family. And I knew that my outsourcing a lot of the critical roles that most women consider the way they showed love, I happily outsourced those to other people and brought strangers into my house. So I always had that. And again, you leave it to the Father. You gave me all these blessings, and you're not going to send me mad. So I'm continuing along the path and along the way. You sent me these wonderful wives, so I'm going strong. So I would say, when I left the corporate world and I started being self-employed, and the children would have been out of secondary school. Yeah, out of secondary school. And, you could see where they're going. You could see where they're going. I remember making conscious this. I was increasingly aware of the tension. And my mother always used to tell me, stress can kill, and I don't want you to die from stress. So do whatever you need to do and she was an advocate for my wives. She was a total advocate for my wife. She had a wife when we were small, even though she was a clerk typist in the Ministry of Works, she had a wife. That's where I got the wife story from. So I distinctly remember making decisions about myself and making, how do I want to be happy? What do I want to do? And I remember, I wanted to have this kind of vacation for the family. So I'll go off and do things, plan vacations in my yarrow, plan different things. And I'll just come up and say, all right, this is where we're going. And the children had to go. And I know sometimes my husband would watch me like, you man? No, we going. And it was my way of easing the tension. But I think in terms of my personality. I think I was a much more collaborative person earlier, but I have become, and I will use the word self-centered, not selfish, in that I think about my happiness, not that it causes other people's unhappiness, but as they have become more independent, I have become more centered to balance that tension that I'm very aware that I carried for so many years. So I would be a person who I think first about what makes me happy. And if something makes me happy, I want to do it. And then I think about not why I can't do it because of the family, but I think about, all right, what accommodations do I need to make in the family for me to do that? And I think they may, people may look at me and say, I think she kind of half cracked sometimes, you know. But so I make decisions to ensure that the life I want to live, I live. I don't get in anybody's way, but I don't tolerate anybody getting in my way. And I think that's one of the biggest changes in me from then carrying the tension and balancing and making sure everything is done well. I was a good wife, and I had wives and sub-wives to be a good wife and mother. But now I am more an individual doing stuff that makes me happy. I think that's a big change. Yeah. Cheryl, you're thinking of something.
No, I was just thinking, I hear you, and to me, that was it for me too. But it was kind of that the priorities just shift, if you know what I mean. And at the earliest, it was the family and the family, and you know, and the relationships, because the relationships got better with like my siblings, you know, with my mother, you know. I found the family that was like the priority. And
your
then
extended family as opposed to your nuclear family.
Yes, yeah. And then eventually, like now, well, during the early stages, my mother was a great help, a significant part of the family. God rest her soul. But eventually now, to me, is as you say, not selfish, but the focus is now more on self. It's now on me, you know. So I try now to do things for me, and I feel now I am more easygoing, for want of a better word. You know, more easygoing. Yes, more relaxed. Not stiff like how Jennifer said. I wasn't like that. I wasn't stiff, but I was kind of purposeful and goal-oriented, you know, because I needed to get where I wanted to be in my career. You know, so those are the things that I had to put in place. You know, I eventually did my master's after number 3, if you know what I mean. But I was determined, you know, that I needed to go further. You know, so now is more easygoing. And as you say, but now I'm presented with some health issues. But even that, I learned how to take that in stride.
Yeah.
You know, and as Bryn said, you pray for whatever you want, you know. So praying has helped me a lot. My church community is a big support to me, you know. So even though everybody is on their own merry way, and we're still very close. I mean, I have my son home with me. The girls have gone. And the first one, the one who donated her kidney 11 years ago, she has 5 children and 5 boys. So I have 5 grandboys and 2 granddaughters. Well, the granddaughters kind of be here a lot. But the 5 grandboys, you know, as Min was saying, you know, there's so much joy, you know, other than seeing yours grown and matured and successful. And this is what you always want to give them, the best opportunity to be the best that they can be, you know. And now she has these 5 grandboys. 2 are already young men working, when we went to Mother's Day function yesterday, they still always have a thing which one is the firstborn and and which one is Granny's favorite and this sort of thing. But they're big, who's in the bank, who's working American Airlines, they have all succeeded, and growing so nicely, as people will say, So it makes you so, so motherhood has all its joys as well. And I think you have to take all in stride, the joys and the little trials that may come your way or the little challenges. But to me, I said only help you grow, But and to me now, it gets, as I say, easy going and a little simpler. Some of the things that bring you joy, when they come home and they show you this and say, look, grand, that's what the last little one come in, look, grand, and and she's showing you whatever it is she did, you just feel, so full, but it's all good. It's all good.
And Mrin, how are you now with the puppy love? What is life like now as you comparing? How has your personality changed? How do you feel? Mrin, hear me?
But me?
Oh, I'm asking you now. You can chat now about where are you now? How do you feel compared to those motherhood days and now you're looking forward? And I'm teasing you about your puppy love.
Yeah, yeah, you had so many years of struggle and responsibilities, and now you have more time for yourself. I spend a lot of time and money on me, meaning that I go and get a body massage, I go get my hair done, I go get my nails done. You couldn't do this when you were looking after a daughter growing up and have to spend money on her for dance class and everything she wanted to be in as well. And I encourage that dance class, karate, everything, swimming, everything that she could go. So that was money being spent. So now you spend money on you, look after yourself because you feel so fulfilled, so satisfied. And as you say, I never thought at this age you will find the one that you feel comfortable with, that a lot of the qualities, like my boss, ex-boss used to say, if you have 25 things that you're looking for in a man, cut it down to 5. But so I always listen to that. And he was right. You cannot get the perfect person at our age.
Yeah.
But, this person just walked into my home and things happen, and it's like a new me. I feel so different. I feel energized.
Yeah.
I feel happy that, so there's hope. There's hope for people as well at age 65, 66. I'm 67. I didn't think, and I'm just having such fun and having a good time traveling up and down, back and forth. Already, how many times for the year I've gone and come back. And so I don't have that responsibility of a child anymore to worry about because she's all grown. She is a qualified accountant and have her own home, 3 children, three children. So you feel that joy. You feel um, satisfied and fulfilled because these are the things you wanted to see happen. And now it's my time for me to feel on top of the world. And that's just how I'm feeling. I feel fabulous.
And
Awesome. Yeah, Brent, what you said, I think too, we have to for me, came to the realization, listen, I can't fix anybody again. I finish fixing as a fixer because of course you want the best. So as one of my daughters to me, I like to put them in a box. And this is what I want. I work hard for you to do this, study this, that, everything. And realized I had to face realization that, hey, yes, you're the mother. These are grown women. They're not living with you again. They have their lives to live. We went through, as you know, the challenges up and down. I mean, when I look back, my mother was really, I mean, I don't know what she went through with all these type of decisions I made, you know? And I had to say, you know what? I did it my way. I am happy with my life. I look back, I don't have any regrets. Leave them alone. Stop buttoning. Stop. That's buttoning. I tend to want to give advice. And sometimes I know I check myself and say, you're overboard there. Cool yourself. Leave it alone, leave it alone, leave it alone. So when I say I'm changing, but for me, you know, in letting go and leaving it alone, I am no longer, I mean, I pray a lot. Always asking God, God help me out here now. Because, you know, but really and truly, and I think what brought about even more of a change for me is when you go through certain illnesses. When you know that, Cheryl, know that we all went through that crisis period. And it shake you up and say, hey, why are you taking all that? If you really have faith, leave that to God. What else do you want? They have done their best. They're doing good. They're not, my father's, there's nobody in jail. But I am happy. I'm really happy and pleased. And I keep reminding myself, hey, this is about you now. Whatever more years God have for you, you don't know. Make it about you and your happiness. Of course, I'm always there to support. They know that, I know that, the support, right? I believe my daughters know me really good. They know when to take me on and not take me on, and when to remind me, hey, cool yourself, you know? So I am good. I am really appreciate being your mother. I have no problem with that. I am happy with my children, how they are. And that's it. So motherhood is about, okay, love, your care, you did that, you're still there. But this is about me. This is about taking care of me as their mother. I don't have any, before I had expectations. In the earlies, I had expectations. I grew up with where my parents would say they work hard and they send you to school and you start to work. When you start to work, they expect you to do things for them. All right? So I grew up with that. You start to work, you have to give money to help support. Every single, and I was telling a friend that on Mother's Day, that was the first Mother's Day without my mother. As old as we were, from children, we always, she was the center, right? We got married, you still have to go home, we always have to go down there to celebrate the Mother's Day, the Christmas Day, the everything. It was always your parents, right? It was your mother. So we felt so, this was what we had to do. It's natural. You take care of your parents, they brought you up. And I had to remove that expectation from me because we're in a different time. So when I started getting upset, actually in the earlies, upset because I find any occasion, hey, it's come like my time. So I feel they should cater to me. And I realized I didn't bring them up so. I didn't, right? I brought them up to be very independent, deal with themselves, take responsibilities, because I always figured as a single parent, I cannot do everything for you. Learn to do things for yourself. So I didn't spoil my children at all. So now I check myself and say, you didn't bring them up so. You brought them up and now you want them to suddenly cater to you. So I have released that. this is about me. I can do things for myself. I know in an emergency, if I need help, they will be there for me. So I know that. But this is my time. I really feel more relaxed. I am not, because I had responsibility or financial situations and all that. Terry, I know always about money to buy this, to send up the study, to do it. Everything was on me. So I mean, extremely ambitious, goals high, because this is what I want for them. I had to realize, hey, this is me now. The little money remaining, it's for me. Yeah, it's for me. The big, I did my part. I'm happy. I did my best. They're okay. Hey, see about yourself. So this Mother's Day, I check it out. I said, my mother not here. Don't expect your children to do what you all did. No. Leave it alone. Make yourself happy. Do what you want. If it's just relax home and do nothing. So I am no longer stiff, no longer worried, no longer getting panicky about things. I am happy with who I am, and every day doing whatever I want. I mean, always more or less did, but under control, Now, I am good. I'm good. When at 70 plus, I say, you know what? I don't want nobody to come and confuse myself.
It's your life.
I have to kick.
If you find the right person, you will not have that opinion.
Well, true.
Exactly.
If I'm
find the right
exactly.
person,
if
you
I'm
will not have
unfortunate,
that
it's
opinion.
and they just drop in my lap, come through my door, I am okay, because I need to be catered to. I am no longer catering for, or I shouldn't say that, maybe I will be willing to cater for if it is, both ways. So yeah, so as a mother now, I am comfortable. I am happy with my life. I look at the challenges as experience that I'm glad I went through all those experiences, and I'm good. I'm a happy mother. Very independent.
So Jen, I know somebody at 75 found the perfect love at 75 and they got married. Huh?
Yeah, so I have to change my mindset, because
there's no limit.
It wasn't in my head.
When the person comes, they come. When they come, they come. It doesn't matter.
I'm good. If they come, great. If they don't come, all right. All right.
Yeah, well, I'm
happy for you, Mren. Very, very happy.
I was told that the person is right around the corner, and I used to say, I don't know where this corner is, because I wasn't seeing anybody. But maybe I wasn't going around the corner.
This discussion says that you're say you're a woman of faith, but you're not, because you both were put in conditions and things that not under your control.
My thing is, I remove all conditions and everything. I'm okay. I no longer, I realized I was really too fussy. When there was I'm sorry, when God keeps sending, what he sent?
He sent the man with the boat, he sent the helicopter.
I think he did all that for me, and in the end, he said, all right, Jennifer, I'm fed up with you with this nonsense.
Peter's gate.
He decided, see you, I'm leaving you alone. I'm fed up sending people for you. And they refused.
You're too picky.
Yeah. I realized,
Yes, sure.
Good.
No, I say probably Jennifer and I just not standing up on the correct streets. Where the corner is.
All your list too long. Do like say cut down the go to 5.
Go to 5.
Right.
You know why? Because we too
fussy. Have to go to 3.
You're too fussy and picky and choosy.
Just relax and enjoy life in the interim. Just relax.
That is it. And who knows?
Make yourself happy.
Right, and the person might just waltz right in.
I
Who
think
knows?
you attract what you give out. So if you make
Yes.
yourself happy,
Yes,
then what complements that will come to you. It's not about
I agree. I agree.
I agree with that.
yeah, yeah.
True, true.
So ladies, this was great. This was
It was quite enjoyable.
we want to wish you all we know you had a wonderful Mother's Day no matter what. And
I got catered to, probably not as lavishly as you, Terry, but very much. I just sat there and everything was just, and it was nice.
Yeah.
It was nice.
I took things into my own hands and I wanted done the way I wanted, and I know no one knew how to do it. So I did it myself. And everybody was cool. They enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I was saying, I was very, very happy to have my daughters and the grands with me. That made my Mother's Day. Really, really happy for the visit, So yeah.
Yeah. So, ladies, again, thank you so much and continue having a fantastic life as senior mothers and beautiful women.
Yes. Thank you so much. Yeah,
Thanks.
much
Thank you.
appreciated.
Nice.
Yes, Terri Ann. Yes, as mothers now, we have time to see about ourselves. So it's good to look back at the journey, but what is great, we love it. We love being mothers. We are blessed with beautiful children. The outcome has been great. We did a great job. We all did. Sometimes it's in the outcome of doing. Sometimes it may not be exactly what we want, but hey, we did it.
Yeah.
And this is our time to celebrate who we are.
Yeah.
And that came out. I love, listening to Mrin, listening to Cheryl and their stories. We are a happy bunch.
Yeah. And not forgetting ourselves. I think that is it.
Of course,
sometimes we become an extension of children and we forget who we are.
Yes.
I may be a little extreme in that way. And I don't know if it's because I have sons, but I always I can separate two people, Terri Ann and the mother. But we are happy now. We are happy now. So we hope you enjoyed it and we look forward to seeing you next week. And here is a small reminder. Remember, May 29th, we are going to Shagaramas. Yeah. So taking the registrations are in, they're coming in. People looking for choosing their menu options. They're deciding whether they're on the Arboretum or they're on the Warriors Haven. So check out the ad and check out.
We have transport and board available.
Yes, yellow umbrella.
So just remember that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So check out all of our social media to click the link to register and you're on board. So there you go. See you next week. Bye. 50 Plus Tribe. Get ready for an adventure. Join us on Thursday, May 29th for an unforgettable day at the Arboretum and the Warrior Haven in beautiful Shagaramas as CONEC-TIONS 50 Plus celebrates our 6th anniversary.
Start your day surrounded by lush greenery at the Arboretum, that breathtaking space in Shagaramas where nature comes alive with towering trees, vibrant flowers, and peaceful trails. Spend the day doing whatever makes you happy. You can relax in the pool and enjoy the ambience, socialize with friends, play board or feedy games, and connect with nature as you do the guiding walking trails. All this for just $350.
But why stop there? For just $125 more, unlock your adventurous spirit at the Warrior Haven. An action-packed experience where challenging team activities collide with fun. Immerse yourself in new and different activities like axe and knife throwing, swordsmanship, archery, yoga, and mega games. Let's bring out the thrill seeker in you.
And don't worry about food. We have got you covered with breakfast and lunch straight from Candy Crush, located in the Carnage Fish Fry. Fresh, local, and delicious. It's a cooler experience, so bring along your drinks.
Spaces are limited, so book now and let's explore, eat, and experience Shagaramas like never before as we celebrate our birthday. Call today, Jennifer at 685-8834 or Terri Ann at 682-9202.
Adventure awaits
on May
on May
29th.
29th.
50 Plus Tribe and followers from Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean.
Thank you for joining us on this Connections 50 Plus 5.8G Alive show.
We hope you enjoyed the lively conversation and look forward to seeing you next week.
Don't forget to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
We really love getting your feedback. Bye for now.